Pregame.tv, UFC 161, Evans, Henderson. Can this possibly be right? Henderson has never been knocked out.
Nope, not with that noggin, boy.
In a sport that everyone says you...
and he's been hit flush.
Everyone has a shot, you know. Yeah. They've got a puncher's chance because anything can happen. Even that monster gal almost got into
almost got choked out.
Almost got choked out. She bit the girl, or should have.
Ronda Rousey almost got choked out.
But here we go. That's just amazing to me. Never been knocked out.
Yeah, especially since he's been hit flush. And, I mean, I've seen guys with some very sturdy chins in both boxing and MMA. And when you get hit flush, it lights out.
You get hit in the nose, it's game over.
I mean, you just get hit a certain part of the chin or a certain part of the back of the head, side of the head, and it's lights out. It's like your nervous system just shuts down. It's not has nothing to do with your chin. It's just that's your body's reaction to getting knocked out. And he's just hasn't gotten knocked out, man. I mean, and he's been hit flush, not just in the UFC. This is someone that's fought in Pride, over in Japan. He's fought at Strikeforce. He's fought a lot.
You've been to a lot of these events.
Yeah, I go to.
You travel.
Yeah, I go to a lot of them. As much as I can, I go. I go to as much as I can. Same with boxing. I love the fight game. I'm not going to Canada. No, I'm not going to Canada.
See the Jasper Ice Fields up there?
No, I will. They're having one here 4th of July weekend that I'll be at. So I said I'll pass on the one in Canada. Here's the thing with this main event. I think it's a good one, and here's why. Forget that these are two huge names, but these are two guys that you're used to seeing fighting for titles. So I think this is more or less a title elimination bout. Not that they're in line to fight for a title next, but if you lose this fight, you're probably not going to get another shot down the line, meaning retirement may be just around the corner. And when you're Dan Henderson and you're 44 years old, you're kind of 1 foot out the door anyway. And for Rashad Evans, having lost 2 straight fights, usually in the UFC, you lose 3 straight, you're getting cut.
So this is like
more times than not. He has a big name. He's their Ultimate Fighter Season 2 winner, so he won't get cut by losing 3 in a row. But he's not going to be matchmaker Joe Silva's favorite. Let's just put it that way.
Let me ask you, in a situation like that, I'd hate to ever think like a major sport that there's any kind of funny business going on. No. But if this fight goes the distance and it's close, is it not in UFC's best interest to let the young gun get the decision and have the better record going forward?
Absolutely. And the same thing when we did the Carl Froch fight.
I remember.
This was the reasoning, that if it went to a decision and his opponent already said if he loses that fight, he's retiring. He already had 1 foot out the door. Anytime that what I try to do, and I'm going to tell you this right now, anytime you could hear a fighter and you get that quote, if I lose this fight, I'm retiring.
He's retired.
Done. It's over. It's finished. I look for those spots. I try not to pass that information along because, once it spreads, the value's gone.
Though.
I try to. I
got to say, you have been red hot.
On fire. Sometimes you get hot. I get lucky.
I don't like to tout. I don't like to do that stuff.
Thank you.
But I am giving credit.
Thank you.
If there's a guy to ride.
Right now, I've been hot. Ride
the hot hands.
And when you're confident and you're like, they're just jumping out at you. You know how that feels.
I won 14 games in a row. I know how that was.
You know how that feels.
In March.
And you hit 70% of your first 100.
Just give me the ball. They're not going to call me.
Exactly.
I'm going to knock them over and put it in.
And it's simple. And this fight jumped out at me. It really did. And what I saw was simple. The shot that Henderson has to win this fight is his big overhand right. That's the weapon. Everyone knows. If he lands that overhand right, he's going to knock you out. He knocked out Fedor. He knocked out Bisping.
And he'll knock him down.
Here's when you look at Rashad Evans, he's avoided 65% of strikes in his career, number one. Number two, he is the only fighter in the last 4 years, 16 professional fights, that has lasted 5 full rounds with John Jones. Granted, he was in survival mode for most of that, but still, Jones landed 105 strikes, and Rashad did not go down. I don't think Evans is going to go down to that Henderson right. I don't think he's going to land that right. I think just the opposite. Henderson's going to try all night to land that right hand. I've seen boxers do it where they know they have when they get older in their career and they know they have that one-punch knockout, what happens is when they get flustered a little early, then instead of throwing combinations, instead of softening up their opponent, they just try to land that big one shot to end the fight.
Worked for George Foreman.
Once in a while it does, but more times than not, you find yourself behind on the scorecards and you find yourself in desperation mode.
And then the opponent can just sit back and play defense.
Exactly, and you're going against one of the best defensive fighters in all of MMA, in Rashad Evans. Like I said, avoids 65% of strikes. When you look at takedown defense, he avoids 66% of takedowns, and he'll be able to take this fight to the mat when he wants to, and I know Henderson, one of the best Greco-Roman wrestlers ever in the UFC, but I think Rashad Evans will, you heard it here first, if it gets to the mat, he will dominate this fight. He's able to, if you look at the last 2 fights that he won against Ortiz and against Phil Davis, he passed their guard a combined 10 times. Those are 2 very good wrestlers. I think he'll be able to pass Henderson's guard, soften him up enough to get it done. I think there's so much value here. I'll tell you what, this line should be, honestly, Steve, should be about minus 140, 160, and kind of get bet up to 175, 180. I mean, Henderson's fought a total of 3 rounds since 2011. 3 rounds. That's all he's fought since 2011. And now he's fighting in the main event, and he's only an even money dog because he has such a loyal fan base, such a huge fan base. The value's on Evans, man.
Very good. We're going to make it official. Right before we do, how much disparity do you see in the lines around Vegas? You're running around.
Big time in UFC.
Go. It's not really
got a
on
shot.
The screen. Just
you got a shot.
I've seen your walking shoes. Go to the.
I would not be surprised.
Go to the MGM. Go all over the place.
Would not be surprised if you saw Evans at even money, even though right now he's a minus 120 favorite.
Just like I saw at the win after game 1 that the Spurs were even money. There was another book I saw where you could take a plus 105 on
exactly.
Miami because it's not on the screen and you can find this stuff. Let's make this official.
Let's do it. UFC 161 main event, Evans versus Henderson, 33 years old versus the 42-year-old Dan Henderson. He's only fought 3 rounds in the last 2 years. It's not a good sign when you're 42 years old. He's given us a lot of great fights over his career. More importantly, he's made us a lot of money as an underdog. I've cashed plenty with Henderson, but I don't think come Saturday night you're going to make any money betting Dan Henderson. You're going to make your money betting on Rashad Evans. Look for him even up against the cage with that dirty boxing. I think he'll have an advantage. When he wants to take it to the mat, he'll have an advantage. He'll be able to avoid that overhand right. And I think he's just going to grind away to a decision, kind of like he did against Rampage Jackson. I think this fight's going to really look just like that one, where Henderson's going to be trying to land that one big punch, kind of like we saw Rampage Jackson do after the first round. All he wanted to do was try to land that one punch. It's not going to happen in this fight. Take Rashad Evans. Also, I put out in the pregame forum an unedited version of my Gaming Today article that I do, a column of MMA or boxing. I gave out another free pick there as well. I like a couple fights on this UFC 161 card, so check that out for sure.
Very good. And check out pregamepros.com, where Vegas Runner is along with everyone else, including our main man, Marco D'Angelo, who comes
Thursday
to us Thursday with Ken Thompson, putting together a great set of videos themselves. And I did.
He's logging into his betting account.
I did. I'm betting the half. I'm checking the halftime line right now.
What's the score?
Which it's 50-44. Your Miami Heat are losing.
They were close, though. They were only down one for a second.
You've been so hot. Don't be selfish. Root for me to win.
Could I get the under at least? Could I get the under first split?
Absolutely. Go.
Right, give me an under.
So if you don't have a Cantor app, you just log on, and it's just you can be shooting videos and bet, and it's probably not good if you have it. If you're late for your Gamblers Anonymous meeting, you might want to
have an account
doing something else. But if you all in fun, really fantastic. But I always read Marco's food reviews, and Marco's in slightly bad mood. He's been winning with his sports betting, but he had ace-3 flopped, and Marco had ace-king, none, 0. Pocket threes. Oh. Ow. It happens.
Pay this man his money.
He beats me.
that can only
pay that man his money.
Busting him up all night.
Pay that man.
Wow.
By the way, there's a guy on
I could go on busting you up all night.
They start to go to grab.
You feeling satisfied now, Teddy?
He's got the nose that's already been broken. We got to get out of here. Check out Ken and Marco. And hey, it's good to be back, man.
Yeah, it is. Good to have you back.
All right.
Good to have you back.
Pregame.tv.
Woo.